So I've been asked the question, how much does it cost to publish an indie book? Well, that depends, doesn't it? I'm Karen and I'm an indie author and I publish Victorian mysteries, steampunk fantasy and cozy mysteries with a fantasy twist. And many of my genres that I do are niche genres, so I can't afford to spend a lot of money. Plus, I don't have a paid income. I don't have a paid job due to health and other problems. And so we have a one income family with also with an adult dependent. And right at the beginning of my indie author journey, I promised the family that I would not eat too much into the family budget. There's a saying that everything either costs money or time, and that's what it comes down to. So in my case, I spend more time so I don't have to spend as much cash money out of the budget. So if we start with writing and editing, I use, I handwrite my first draft, so there's notebook costs, I suppose. So I'd probably go through 2 full notebooks at least per book, and they can vary from $2 to $10 each, depending on how fancy I'm feeling at the time and how much money I've got. Programs I use are Scrivener and Word. Now, Word came with my laptop that I bought about 3 years ago. I had to replace my laptop and Word came with that. I think Australian dollars, I think it costs about $99, $100 to get the program otherwise. I also have Scrivener, and I bought Scrivener like 15 years ago. I bought the first version and it was half price due to a Nano special, and I've just recently upgraded it because there's been some new things that they've added to it that I wanted. And I think I spent, I'm trying to think now. I think I spent about 60 Australian dollars on that one. Now, for editing, I highly recommend that you don't just self-edit, that you get an editor. I'm fortunate that when I first started out, my first book, I was part of a writing group, and one of the people in that helped me edit has actually gone on to become a professional editor. And more recently, I do I suppose, barter system with a friend of mine who has a degree in English Lit and also in archaeology. So she understands a lot of the genres, and she writes by genres too, or genre adjacent. And so she understands my genres too, and that's very, very important with an editor. So what I do is I do her cover designs and her formatting, and she does my editing. So when I do cover commissions, I just had to change arms. So when I do cover commissions, I'm probably about $250 for a cover plus, and formatting, I haven't actually charged for that, but I've thought about doing it, and I've worked out that it would probably be between $200 odd and plus, depending on what the formatting, if I did it for someone else. But so she does the editing and I do her formatting and covers. So creating covers. I do art. I'm an illustrator as well as a writer. I've done videography for ages and photography as well. And I get feedback from 2 different professional artists that I know who do that sort of thing. So I do the photography and the art and design, and it involves a lot of time, so a lot of research going into what covers for what genres, and that costs time, as I said before, instead of money. So originally I would hand draw on everything, and I'd do it with nib pen for the ink, which is what I did for the internal artwork for Aunt Enid and the second book of Fae Tale as well. I'm doing a bit more digital stuff, but I start off doing it by hand and then I add colours and stuff with digital. So I'm just really learning with digital. So I bought a Wacom, and it's an A4 type size thing. It's a Wacom Intuit Pro, I think, and that was worth about $2.99. I think I might have got that on sale for $2.50-ish, so about $50 on sale. And I used that one with GIMP and Krita. So Krita I use for the drawing, and GIMP I use for different bits and pieces and fiddling, and I just find that easier than Adobe. But I do actually have Adobe Photoshop to do the fonts and the text as well. I think that does that better, especially when you want a text that's not quite straight, and I'm still learning on that one too. And that I think is about $360 per year, and I do a book a year, so that would be basically $360 per book for that one. Okay, next I have beta readers, and they have a look at it, and I send stuff to them by hand usually, or by email, and then also for ARCs and stuff like that I use BookFunnel, so I pay a yearly fee for BookFunnel as well. So then when I've finished the editing and everything like that, then I've got to format the book, and I format my own book, and I use InDesign for the paperback, because that's what is used in the industry, and that is about $360 a year as well. I actually use Word for doing my ebooks. That goes through Draft to Digital, and the paperbacks go through Ingram Spark. So I do, for my paperbacks, use my own ISBNs, and we're lucky in Australia we can get them at really competitive prices. So I buy in bulks of 10 each time, which is $80, which makes it $8 per ISBN as well. So ebooks go through Draft to Digital, and there's no upload fees for those. And actually they will convert to EPUB and to Mobi and everything for free, and allow you to use those files as well, so that's good. For paperbacks I use Ingram Spark. Now they used to have a it's $53 Australian, depending on the exchange rate, per book to upload those files, and then you had to pay extra if you have to redo the files. More recently they're now not having an upload fee, but they do take 1% of sales. So if with all the books in the past they were with the upload fee, so that's about $53 for that too. So if I add all those up, if I work out per book, probably $250 to $500, so say $250 for the swap for the editing, and about, if you look at the Word, if you buy Word, it's $100. So I've done about 3 books since I've done that, so that's about $33.30. I've written it all down here. The Wacom, I've done about 3 covers since I've had that, so that works out about $99.30 roughly if I divide it by 3. Then I've got the ISBNs, which are 8. I've written them down, and the uploading fees that I used to have to pay for Ingram Spark, which is $53, and the InDesign cost as well, which is $360, and the cost for Adobe Photoshop, which is $360. And if I've done my sums right, it adds up to about $1,163.60, and that's Australian dollars. So that's about what, on average, I was spending on each book that I publish. I would love to do audiobooks, but here in Australia we don't have ASICs, and to get a professional narrator will cost about $3,000 to $7,000 Australian, and I just can't afford that in my budget at the moment. But you know, never say never. Hopefully one day I'll be able to afford that, and we can do that too. So that's what it costs me to publish each book every time. I hope that was of help.